Okay, we're going to do problem 33 in this video, which is a better investment in why 9% compounded quarterly or 9.25% compounded annually. In this video, I'm going to show you how to calculate this two different ways. One, using the compound interest formula, and two, using the app in the graphing calculator. So let's get started on this one. It asked us which is a better, which one's a better investment, but it doesn't give you any of the information. So these are the arbitrary numbers I just made up so that we'd be able to talk about this problem in a more realistic way. So I made up the present value is $5,000 we're investing, and the time frame is over the span of 3 years, so that we can use this formula and so that we can use the app and we'll be able to make sense of it. I'm going to do it two different ways: compounded quarterly versus compounded annually. So again, the principal is just me making it up. So I put 5,000 in, 1 plus the rate was 0.09 for 9%. 4 is the compounded quarterly. Then 4 times how many years? 3 years. And so we just put this in our calculator. Some of you really struggle with just putting in the computation, like the value. So I really just go old school using order of operations. And so I do it in pieces. Let me get out of here. Let me show you what I mean. So I start off with my inside part. I start off with my fraction, 0.09 divided by 4. Then I hit plus, and it just takes the previous answer, plus 1. That's the inside of the parentheses. Then I'm going to raise it to 12 because that's what 3 times 4 is, and that equals that. And then I'm going to times that by the 5,000. I just hit enter, times 5,000, and so I get a future amount of $6,530.25. Now I'm going to do this all over again, but now compounded annually to see which one's a better buy. So this would be A, again, still using that arbitrary 5,000 that I made up. 1 plus, here it's going to be 0.0925, because that's the different interest rate, over was it 1? Let's see. Oh, we're still doing compounded annually. Okay, so then that's the 1. And then 1, because how many times does it compound in a year? 1, and then over the time of 3 years. So again, I just punch this in the calculator using order of operations. This one's a little bit easier. Let me clear this out and I'll show you. I do the inside first. I don't need to really divide that. So that'd be 0.0925 plus the 1. Raise that to, now it's just going to be 3 equals times my 5,000. And it turns out my future value, $6,519.80. And so now comparing our A, pretty darn close. This one was compounded quarterly at 9%. This one had higher interest rate, but it only happened 1 time a year over the span of 3 years. And so it turns out the smaller interest rate, but compounded more frequently, is the better investment. So how do we do this same exact problem, but using the app in the graphing calculator? And that's what I'm going to show you on this video. Still, I'm going to be using my made up values here of a present value of 5,000 and a T of 3. So you do need to know how to put in these. So let's go to the app. It's under apps. It's the finance one. It's the very first one, the TVM solver. So just hit enter and it gives you the fonts here. And so it gives you the prompts. N is going to be your 4 times your 3. So how many times is this going to happen over the span of the 3 years? And it's 12 times it's going to get compounded. So it's the 4th times the 3. Your interest rate, so you're going to put 12 there and hit enter. Your I is your interest rate, but you don't need to change it to a decimal. It's 9 divided by 3. 9 divided by 3. No, sorry. Divided by 4, sorry. The number of times it gets compounded. Now, present value is the 5,000. You're not going to have any payments. We'll tackle that the next unit. Your future value is what you are looking for. So you put your present value of 5,000, you go down to future value. It shouldn't have anything there. So then you go alpha, enter, and it will put the value. Don't worry about the negative, it's just telling you, and notice it's an exact match, 6,530 point, and it rounds up to 25 cents. So again, this is how you would put it in the calculator. This is how you would use the formula. This is the direction we're going in for the next unit, so this would probably be wise to use. So let's see if we can get it to do that for the next, this one, to get it to match. So again, N was, last time it was how many times does this happen in a year? So it's 1 times how many years? So that would just be 3 right there. Here you would put the interest rate, which was that 9.25. Don't change it to a decimal. But then it's divided by how many times this is going to happen. It's taking into account this part of the formula. So 9.25 divided by 1 is still going to be 9.25. It's still a present value of 5,000. There's still no payments. So we're still using the same present value. Still no value. So here you get to this and you hit alpha, enter. And sure enough, it's a match, 6519.80. And so we don't have to use this formula if you know how to use this calculator app. Again, this only works for compounding interest, not compounded continuously. This would only be for your annually, quarterly, monthly, that kind of stuff.